Hi, I'm Tracy Falbe, real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Michigan Real Estate, and I'm based in Battle Creek. Today I'm talking about the potential benefits of moving to Michigan when you retire. I know that might sound nuts to some people because everyone wants to move to the Sun Belt, Florida, Arizona, have the warm weather all the time. And that was, a very desirable strategy for a number of decades, but housing costs in the Sun Belt have gone up quite a bit. So that does give some people pause when they're looking at their retirement income and the budget for the retirement life. So especially if you don't hate winter, or if you want the four seasons, or if you really don't want the super duper hot summers down south, it causes people to give Michigan or other places in the upper Midwest another look, because there is a high chance you could control your housing costs. In Michigan, there is housing stock that is affordable compared to the rest of the country. I mean, you could probably get a home for under $200,000. So that is a thing to consider. Let's take a closer look at the reasons you may want to move to Michigan when you retire. All right, I have three examples of some homes under $200,000 in Battle Creek, and we will just go through them a little bit, look at their details and the pictures so you can get an idea of what kind of housing inventory is available in Michigan. Now, to save money on housing, sure, the bigger cities are going to have higher housing costs in the state. And of course, in pretty much any town or small city, you can spend as much as you want. There will be expensive homes. But if you want to get a small home to retire in and keep your budget under control, you will want to look in small towns and the smaller cities. Now, these can be kind of close to the bigger cities if you want to retire and still have access to big hospitals and entertainment options and all of that, maybe even a retirement job. But if you're looking for more affordable housing, you'll want to go in the smaller towns and cities. So let's take a look here in Battle Creek. We have 50 Arbor Street, and it is currently priced at $180,000. It has 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, so not too bad. Let's take a look at some of the pictures. And Arbor Street is a side street, so it's just a residential street. It's not a busy road or anything. And so there's a look at the outside. Yes, it's winter right now. And we're in the inside. So it looks like a pretty nice home in there. Not too bad for $180,000. And this one does have 2 bathrooms. I know that's often important. Not always. There's lots of 1-bedroom or 1-bath houses in the area. So if you are retiring on your own, you might not need to have that second bathroom. But, this is sort of, we got a nice enough house. There's nothing scary here. All right, let's look at the next example. Okay, this is example 2. This house is also $180,000 at 9567 Huntington Road. Now that's north of Battle Creek. This one has a country setting. You're a few miles out of town, but you're not very far away from the main road, and it's not far from town at all. But a quieter country setting. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, about 1,500 square feet. So there's a larger square footage, but there's only 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. We can look at the pictures. There's a garage. This is a single-story example as well, because often when you're retiring, you maybe don't want your bedroom upstairs, so people do like to look at the single-story homes. This one does have a basement, so it's definitely a blue house. Let's flip through our pictures really quick, see what it looks like inside. And there's your bathroom. Blue house on the outside, green bathroom. This is a shot of the basement, unfinished basement, but they're great for storage. And foosball tables there, not necessarily included in the sale. So lots of room for stuff. A little shed in addition to having a garage on the home. There's a view of the back of the home. So let's look at example 3. And example 3, $173,900. This is at 582 Riverside Drive. That is fully in town, but it's a fairly nice neighborhood there. And Riverside Drive is close to the shopping area, which I call Boxlandia, where all the box stores are. So you're not too far from that, where all the restaurants and Walmart and Kohl's and Target and Menards and Lowe's and all that stuff. So close to shopping, but a nice older neighborhood in the middle of town. So it's pretty nice. This one I think has 4 bedrooms. Yes, 4 bedrooms and 1 full bath. And let's take a look at some of the pictures here. See what we got going on. This is another single-story home as well. And detached 1-car garage. Nice big yard. Definitely a nice backyard there. All right, we're on the inside. Living room, ceiling fan, front door, and kitchen. So not the biggest kitchen there, but apparently there's 4 bedrooms in here. Maybe that washer and dryer. There's our bath, kind of typical. Not big, but has what you needed. And then we're going through a bunch of bedrooms here. Looks like maybe a family outgrew this place. And that looks like a sort of a mudroom, storage room out the back area. So as you can see, there are some affordable options, and it's February 2026 right now. So there will be, it's not peak time for listing. Yes, there's homes on the market that you can go shopping now, but hopefully we'll get some more listings in the spring so you'll have more choices. But if you wanted to shop in small towns or small cities in Michigan, there are options under $200,000. Now, if your budget's a little higher, there's lots of options too, but if you are thinking about retiring and you're going to have a fixed income and you want to make that Social Security and your retirement savings last you in a comfortable manner, you might want to think about buying a house in this state. Let's talk about property taxes. Because the price of the home is only one part of the equation, Michigan is sort of maybe medium high for property taxes. It's not a cheap property tax state, but it's hardly the worst one by far. So I will include the link to this taxrates.org website in the description so you can explore it yourself. The thing about Michigan is that your tax rate varies by county. It's not the same all over the state. So Battle Creek is in Calhoun County, and right now it taxes 1.63% of a home's value. Nearby Kalamazoo County is at 1.61% of the home's value, so very close. Now Berry County, just north of Calhoun County, is 1.21% of the home's value. So if you're shopping for real estate, you can maybe save a little on your property taxes depending on which place you choose to move, because as a retiree, when you're not tied to a job so much, you have some options to maybe find a home in a spot with a little lower property tax rate. So Michigan, not the lowest property taxes, not the highest, and there is variation around the state. So something to look at. Don't assume if you're looking at a listing in Michigan and the taxes are high, don't assume that it's going to be the same tax in the next county over. Now for retirement planning, let's look at income taxes in Michigan. According to the AARP, they consider it a moderately tax-friendly state for retirees. 4.25% income tax, but there are a lot of deductions you might be able to take. Aside from income tax, there's sales tax, that's 6% in the state. Now, I did want to make note that your Social Security income is not taxed in the state of Michigan. A lot of states have the same thing. So your Social Security income you will be able to deduct from your tax bill. And of course, pension and retirement income, 401k withdrawals and all that. It's kind of a complicated tax picture related to your age and your income. So the answer is it depends. You'll probably be able to get some deductions on that type of income. So as I said, it's not necessarily the absolute best tax haven for a retiree, but it's not a bad tax picture for people with retirement income. So I will put a link to this AARP article in the description as well, so you can explore what the income tax picture is like in Michigan. Another big concern for retirees looking for a place to live is access to health care. Michigan ranks pretty well in that regard. Most towns have a hospital. The big cities, of course, have more hospitals. University of Michigan has its medical school, and the U of M Medical Center, which is well regarded nationally for people who need advanced care. But as you can see, there's a lot of hospitals in the state, so you'll find that the better, bigger hospitals are more in the south part of the state, the big cities, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor. But there are medical hubs throughout the state, particularly the Lower Peninsula. Access to health care is a little fewer and far between in the Upper Peninsula, but overall, it's not intensely rural like you've moved to Wyoming and you're 50 miles from a hospital. The state, usually in your town or at least the next big town over, you should have access to a fairly comprehensive medical center. All right, to finish out the video about moving to Michigan as a retiree, I'm going to talk about winter because it's a non-starter for some people. They don't ever want to be cold, and that's fine. But if you're not opposed to experiencing winter and you want to explore options for more affordable housing when you retire, let's talk about winter. It's a little easier if you're a retiree. I recently met with a woman. She had grown up in the area but had lived in California for most of her life, so she knew what it was like to live in a perfect climate. And even so, she chose to move back to Battle Creek because she wanted more affordable housing. To stay in California, she was going to have to continue working 2 days a week as a nurse to make her budget work. And since she was approaching 80 years old, she decided she wanted a lifestyle where she worked 0 days a week. And so she came back to southern Michigan and bought a nice little home in an older neighborhood. The home was in good condition, so it's working out for her. And this is our first year back in winter in decades, and we've been having quite a winter this year. So lots of snow and cold, but she was being positive about it because as a retiree, you don't have to head out and drive in the snow and risk getting in a crash on the slippery roads because you don't have a job anymore. So you can enjoy staying home cozy, watching the pretty snowfall. Now, you can always hire somebody to do your driveway and do your porch, put some ice or salt down so the ice isn't there because nobody wants to slip on the ice. Or you can enjoy doing it yourself. If you're in good health, you can get out that snow blower and it can just be some nice outside time in the winter weather. And so that's the thing to consider. If you have a job, winter can be very inconvenient and unpleasant if you have to drive somewhere every day. But if you can pick and choose when you go out, it is not that much of a hardship. You can stay home, turn up the heat, and just enjoy your inside hobbies until the weather gets better. And the weather will get better. By May, spring should be very nice. April sometimes, but April's very, very chaotic weather-wise. So I won't promise anyone that April will be nice. It could be. But by May and pretty much May through October, it's going to be super nice. Yeah, there'll be some rainstorms and thunderstorms, But for the most part, it will be warm, but not usually too hot. Definitely not as hot as in the southern United States. If we're lucky, it'll stay in the 80s. Heat waves around here are in the 90s. So it's much cooler in the summer than other places in the country. And the price for enjoying that is winter. If you would like to explore moving to Michigan for your retirement, reach out to me. I'm Tracy Falbe. I'm a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Michigan Real Estate. I can talk to you about what you're looking for and set you up with an email that you get every week looking at listings in your price range in the area you were thinking about. And that'll let you get an idea of the prices and the current taxes, and we can go from there. Give me a call or text 269-967-6589. Please leave a comment if you have any questions about living in Michigan. I will see the comment and answer you. And thank you for watching. I appreciate your time.